Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, January the 20th, 2021, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. First item on the agenda. Anything?
No, sir, nothing else to add tonight.
Very good. Then we'll move on to the public hearings. First being BAR 2023. Jeff.
This has come before the board previously for a request for Habitat for Humanity at 210 South Murray Avenue. At a previous meeting, they were approved for fencing to fence in the backyard due to some theft issues they've been having back there. And at that time, they were approved for either an 8-foot stockade fence or like the black wrought iron or aluminum fencing types. They have now come back with some options that they'd like you to consider. The first one is the original request was for the galvanized chain link fence. What they're asking for now is black chain link fence. You see here on one entryway, the back of the property there. The second option would again go back to the wooden fence and other views of wooden fence. This is already approved. They could do this today without coming before us, but they would like to discuss with the board whether there's any possibility of going to the black chain link for cost reasons. And so that's what we're here to discuss tonight. This is a reminder of the policy in regards to this. The closest that we have talks about minimizing the visual impacts of a parking lot. It says where a parking lot abuts the public sidewalk, providing visual buffer. This could be a landscape strip or planter. It could be the use of a wall as a screen for the edge of the lot. Use a combination of trees and shrubs to create a landscape buffer. And where a parking lot exists that is presently not screened or landscaped, consider a landscaping program or an infill building that relates to the surrounding context. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have for staff, and the applicant is represented here tonight as well.
Thank you. While we certainly sympathize with the cost issues, I don't know that the color of a chain link fence makes any difference to make it compliant with guidelines. Thoughts, comments?
Clearly doesn't match our guidelines.
That's what I believe we discussed last time. It was chain link.
Yes.
Other comments?
If it were an aluminum, black aluminum.
Fence.
Wrought iron look, yeah.
Because, and it seems like the wrought iron was lower than this. I don't know. The picture of it looked like it was. No, it is.
Yeah.
It is still high.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be an issue.
But we have previously approved the stockade fence, correct?
Yes. You just have.
Oh, yes. Certainly, sir.
You just state your name for the record.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Corey Lundeen. I've been with Habitat for about 6.5 years. We did a little research on the wood. We are not completely opposed to it. Our biggest concern is safety. And so the difference between the wood and the chain link is the visibility. So we want to always know what's on the other side of that chain link. We bring forth the black powder coated option simply because we believe this could be a safer option for us. We could present another drawing of a wood fence, probably with separation between the slats. That may be an option. But when we talk about long-term, what's going to work for the organization, we really believe the chain link will hold up a whole lot longer than the wood, less maintenance and that kind of thing. And so this looks great now, but what's it going to look like in 5 years with the weathering and all that, not to mention the folks we have downtown coming through our lot, how are they going to react to a fence? We're not sure. They're not going to like it, we know that. But the biggest thing for us is we always want to know what's on the other side of the fence when we leave late at night, when we come early in the morning, because we do those things. And so that is why we're back with the chain link option. It is actually more expensive than the wood option. We've only had one company out of 5 even willing to quote a wood option right now with increase in lumber price and that kind of thing. So ultimately, we would really hope there'd be consideration for a chain link option. And honestly, I think there's less visible impact if you're driving by. I think the wood is a whole lot more visible and just stands out a whole lot more based on these drawings. So don't know if you guys would reconsider, but we are actually choosing the more expensive option between the two. And I think as far as safety is concerned, that's really in our best interest. And I can run you through a whole list of incidents we've had down there. They would really probably terrify you. And so that's our main concern.
I appreciate the comments and the concerns, but we've been pretty consistent, and the clarity of our guidelines do not allow for chain link fences, and we've turned them down elsewhere with other requests.
Okay. I understand
Anyone else?
that, although I'm a little confused because I have right here from the bar, there does not appear to be any specific fencing language in the downtown sign guidelines.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And as Jeff has indicated, when the introduction of matters in downtown, we look to the broader guidelines for guidance. And that's how we have always applied fencing requests in the downtown historic district.
Okay. Okay. With that said, would you guys approve a wooden fence, a little different design, vertical slat, so we can see, what's on the other side?
I don't think that should be a problem.
I don't think you.
I certainly see exactly what you're saying about safety and visibility. It seems to me, with everybody in the community wanting to support habitat, that there would be some connection that you all could do a black powder coat aluminum fence that would do the same thing and you'd never have the maintenance problem, I don't think, of
I think we're going to outprice not only our organization, but probably outprice the area if we do that. I mean, I just think it's the black powder coat aluminum fence I've seen. I believe are a little more upscale. You got to ask these guys. James, you want to speak?
By all means, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. And your name, sir?
My name is James Miley. I'm a employee at the Habitat store.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
One thing I wanted to point out is the view that you see there. That is down a hill, so you're not going to see on that side and the side against the bank there. There's about a 7-8 foot bank on one side.
Mm-hmm.
So the two sections you're seeing won't even be visible from the street. So is it possible that we could do the chain link there, do something else on the Cherry Street side where it's visible?
Again, it's not just a visibility issue. It is looking to the guidelines, how we have applied them, and we have attempted to do that evenly across the board.
Can we get a copy of those guidelines?
Certainly, sir.
How do we go about doing that?
Jeff?
Has a link to it for you in the email.
Very good.
Thank you. Do you have anything else for
I've got another question. So is there a grandfather clause for the existing chain link fencing downtown?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to have clarity, I'm not
Yeah,
trying to ruffle any feathers.
yeah.
Just because I know there's just a ton of chain link downtown, and it's just trying to figure out how that exists and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I just feel like it might be worth it. And I've worked with some clients that I was amazed in doing decking, fencing around decking and all. And some of the aluminum options that are available are just very reasonable, less than wood.
Okay.
And I don't know, you might, maybe a Home Depot or Lowe's or somebody would be willing to help you with that.
Okay, sure, yeah,
That'd be
we
worth
definitely look into that option.
I think that's something we would definitely.
Certainly. Yes, John.
If I may. The existing chain link fence is grandfathered in because our guidelines we didn't adopt those and then tell everybody, you gotta get rid of all that, pull it all out.
Right.
And change it. When issues come up or somebody has to replace something, we assess it as to whether it's a maintenance issue, I'm just replacing this 8-foot section right here, or I gotta tear the whole thing out. Then what are my options? I had the same issue with my property downtown as well. And we chose a black aluminum picket style fence, and you can clearly see through it. Because I've experienced some similar problems, and evaluated against the cost of
The
stockade
accomplishments what they
fence.
need for it to accomplish.
And we knew that chain link wasn't an
Makes
option,
it
and we didn't want to put that there because we felt that detracted from, the improvements we were trying to make to the property. You've made a lot of improvements to that building as you've been going along here, better than 6 years now. And no stockade fence wouldn't look bad, you do have an ongoing maintenance issue with that. We found that the aluminum was, affordable compared to some of the other fencing options we chose. We felt it complemented the building better, and we've also seen a tremendous decrease in activity. And yes, it did bother them, I can tell.
Absolutely,
A
yeah.
little bit longer to walk. And some of our customers, but from a safety and security standpoint, I appreciate where you're coming from. I would look into that. Lowe's carries that product, and that's why I got to install that on our property, significantly more fencing, than what you're looking at right here, so.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir. And your name, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Jakes, and I'm a board member with Habitat for Humanity. So
Welcome.
Thank you for having us tonight. Thank you. The question of maybe a protocol question. Would it be appropriate for us to ask this evening for approval from the board for either a black aluminum fence, as the lady in the back has mentioned, or a wood stockade type fence, such that we could evaluate the two different alternatives? It would be non-chain link, and that would allow us to continue to move forward, or would we need to do more beyond that?
We could certainly do that. Now, recall
Already approved at the
your
previous
stockade.
meeting.
What now?
Those options were already approved at the previous meeting. Black aluminum.
The black was as
or
well.
The stockade.
Okay, it was, okay.
I knew the stockade, but I didn't recall the other. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, very good. Forgive my ignorance for not knowing that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And Jeff, we will leave this application open.
Yeah.
He wants to come back. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now on to VAR 2040.
The applicant is seeking approval for window changes on the property at 2205 Hunter Drive in the North Anderson Historic District. The property is a single-family residence. The applicant is seeking to replace the original windows in the house. The current windows are a combination of 6/6 and 8/8 double-hung windows. Essentially what you have is on the front, we have 8/8. On the other three sides, this would be the right side, and then the rear, there's a couple under the awning as well. And then on the left side are all 6/6 windows. And so, and this is a little bit of a change from the staff report. What the applicant is requesting is that on the front, there would be replaced with divided light windows with exterior grids 8/8.
Okay.
On the right-hand side, which is visible from the road, same thing, divided light windows with the exterior grid and the matching 6/6 pattern.
Okay.
So then on the back, which is not visible from anywhere, and on the left side, just because of the additional cost, they would like to do just 1/1 double hung windows on those two sides. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3 of the Residential Design Guidelines, which is for rehabilitation of historic resources. The following sections apply to this request. The policy states to preserve the size and shape of historically significant windows and doors. They should be repaired instead of replaced whenever possible. We replace a window or door that is damaged beyond repair with one that is similar to that seen historically. The board must decide if the proposed changes meet the above criteria. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is here tonight as well.
Thank you. Well, as we said earlier, we certainly appreciate the cost concerns and considerations in renovation projects. But you're going from two different grid patterns, which grandfathered in, to 3 different ones, and that's here lies the concern. Comments?
I have concern with just the lack of continuity, you know, and as a realtor, I always think about resale issues as well, and I think, you know, that beyond an aesthetic as well as our guidelines, I think it creates issues for a resale kind of thing too, as well. I feel like we need to stay 8/8 and 6/6.
You know, because, I mean, if you came in originally, you know, we would ask for that all of the grid patterns be the same. But as you have 2 different grid patterns on your home currently, certainly you can go back with that same grid pattern combination. But now you're asking for yet a 3rd one on the back and a side, and that's where I think the issue is. Other comments?
And whether or not it's visible from the street is not really relevant.
No. I mean, as you heard with the other applicant, and as is constantly the case, well, if it's in the back and nobody sees it, can I just do whatever? No, the guidelines apply to all 4 sides of the house and the area.
Well, what if the ones were 3/3, changed to 3/3 instead of, then we'd only end up with 2 different.
So okay, am I getting that you're changing the 6/6 to 3/3? Or?
No, I'm sorry, 6/6. If we would do that along the front and the side,
So do the whole house in 6/6?
right?
Well, no,
Except for the,
what you're saying is 2 sides is 6/6, and the 2 sides is 1/1, is what she's saying. So then you have 2 window patterns instead of 3.
No, I mean, the 2 different window patterns would be, in my opinion, acceptable in that that's what you've got now. If you went with an 8/8 and a 6/6, continuing what you currently have, that would be fine. But if you're changing, then we're looking to have consistency, not still 3 different ones.
I'm sort of surprised, and maybe, you know, architects that are here can tell us why on the front, the house, the window that's 6/6 is not that much smaller. I mean, I wonder why they all weren't 6/6.
That was probably an addition.
That's
Almost looks like,
what I'm looking,
yeah.
It looks 6/6.
but possibly in addition to the house.
So it would be nice if they, particularly on the front, if they all wore 6/6 even.
Can you show the back of the house?
You have 3 windows, 1, 2, 3, there's 2 more underneath.
Oh, that's an addition.
I don't think it's an addition. It looks like it's just it replaced.
Is that window smaller?
They appear to be smaller to me. The 8/8, the 8/8 appear to be wider windows.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, usually we both are trying to keep the panes about the same size, so if that's the reason you would use the 6/6 versus 8/8 on the same
Okay.
side. It's usually trying to scale the panes.
It makes sense because almost didn't notice it.
You know. And can we see the left side as well?
This would be the left side. Those are 6/6.
So, Ms. Smith, you're
Yeah.
asking for the left
It's
side to go
interesting.
1/1, and the
No,
rear
that's-
side to be one.
The side that I want to,
Would be, this is the back, so this, I'm calling this the left side here.
okay,
From the front, this would be the left side here.
this, yeah, this is the side that I just want to do
Yep.
without the,
Right.
without, okay?
Right, so if you're looking at it from the road, this would be the left-hand side of the house.
Yes, Jill?
So the windows that are on this side, are there any other windows in those rooms?
I'm sorry, I think.
Are there other windows in those rooms with the ones you're wanting to put 1/1?
So, is this a room here, does it have a
Does it have a-
window on the back?
Corner.
Yeah, it's a corner lot.
Back of the house. Yes, it does.
So you don't want to put two different kind of windows in the room. That wouldn't work.
Do you know if the window is specified for the front or a true divided?
They have grids on the inside and outside, so it'll appear as a true divided lot. They're double pane, vinyl replacement windows with grids on the inside and outside. And what I spoke with the window installer today, and that's what he told me, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for some consistency here, either with what you currently have, try to work with you otherwise, but 3 different grid patterns is not appropriate and consistent with what we're trying to establish here. So how can we work together to get this resolved?
I guess the last remaining question would be then, would you allow, to replace the ones on the house as existing and then 1/1 on the other 3 sides? But that would give you 2 window patterns, even though they're not original on the rest. You'd have 3 sides, 1/1 with no grids, and then the front as existing. That would be the only other option I could think of.
So you're talking the 2 sides in the back is 1/1
Right.
and the,
No grids, and then the original pattern on the front side.
8/8 and 6/6.
Right.
thoughts?
Can we see the front again?
You still have to do this one as a
To me,
6/6.
it's almost, if you replace the 8/8 with 3/3, I mean 6/6, all around the house.
But the 1/1s are a lot less expensive, and that's the driving force here. Is that right, Jeff?
Yes.
But I bet a 6/6 is less, because there's less wood
Yeah.
involved.
I mean, in comparison, sure.
I can't remember ever approving that much of a change on windows.
It's pushing it a bit.
It is, but you get consistency on it. They essentially have consistency, and that on 3 sides and character remains on the front.
I mean, my biggest problem was the 3 different window grids on one house. That,
Would it be an option maybe on the back and the side? I don't know if this is a cost saving or not, but only have the grid on the exterior and save money by not putting it on the interior? And it's just, that way from the outside, they're consistent.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, but I had thought that the idea was to try to make the windows look as much as possible like the existing, which had the grids on both sides.
That would be,
Making a difference to me.
that would be preferential. I just thought if it's a cost issue on the back, if I don't know, I've never
Well,
bought
I don't know
windows.
either, you know.
So. Would it be, are the windows in bad condition? Would it be an option just to have the rear and the side painted?
They need to replace it. I mean, they need to replace it. Well, are there objections to changing the front to 6/6 as opposed to, I mean, we've already got different windows on the front anyway.
Okay, so if you did 6/6 on front, what are you proposing for the rest of the house? 6/6 as well?
Well, except for the one side and the back,
Okay,
which I would like to just have without the grids.
yeah, I mean, I think the problem is the no symmetry and the variety of window grids. I mean, ideally, we look.
To that, I mean, there would just be,
But when you're talking about one side, one back, front side and a different side, again, like you heard with the discussion regarding the fencing, it's not just a matter of what is seen and what is not, it's the overall looking at all four sides.
And I think one reason for that is that, you can't imagine that whatever's behind you and on the right or left side would ever change, but we all know that doesn't happen, and it could be, they could put a street on that side and you're living on a corner, or the house next door, or whatever's there, would totally just, change. And cut down all the trees, and the trees fall down. And so there could be an opportunity where you would visualize all sides of it.
Now, what Jeff had an option tossed out, if everyone listen, is continue with the 8/8 in front and that one window 6/6 to have the pane size, relatively consistent, and the other three sides all being just a 1/1 that would address the cost issue that you've raised, but also address some consistency or inconsistency issues that we're concerned about. Thoughts along those lines? Ma'am?
okay, so you're saying keep the front as it is?
As it is, and,
Okay.
and then the other three sides all being 1/1.
But what if there are two windows in the same room and one is 1/1 and one?
That's an interior
Yes.
issue that,
Yeah,
we don't,
and it's a bathroom, so it's not a big deal, it's not
I mean, that's an option that Jeff tossed out, so I'm tossing it out to the panel as well as, Ms. Smith here,
I'm in favor of it.
okay?
I can't understand what you're saying.
Say more. You said you're not in favor of it. Go ahead and explain.
It's a tremendous change going from 6/6s to 1/1 on either the 50% of the house or 75% of the house. Huge change.
I don't dispute that. Sorry?
It doesn't follow our guidelines.
I don't dispute that. That was an option Jeff tossed out, and I wanted the board to address that as well as Ms. Smith. That option might fly at all.
Would we accept, like Mary Lou mentioned, for these facades that aren't visible, an exterior applied grid to match the 6/6 that's there? Or does it matter that it's
I would.
not visible?
I don't see.
No, basically, there's a true divided light,
Mhm.
then there's a simulated divided light, and then there's the exterior applied, which I think is very similar in cost to just taking the grid off and not having any grid.
I think that
I think
would be an
that's-
option.
Yeah, I thought, okay, the interior and exterior grids across the front,
Right?
8/8, 6/6. And then the rest of the way around the house, still give you 6/6, but only exterior grids.
That's what,
Cost savings, yes.
that's what he's
That's what I'm
suggesting.
saying, yeah, all the way around.
All right. What do you think of that, ma'am?
Okay, you're saying interior and exterior grids in the front, and then all the rest just exterior grids.
Exterior grid of 6/6.
think that's a very similar cost product, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because you can either have the grid on there or remove it, and it pops right off. So I wouldn't think that would be a huge upcharge to have that removable grill. If that's acceptable within our guidelines to have that type of.
I think it's a reasonable application of the guidelines.
I think that's okay. I mean, I'd have to talk with the window installer too, because I mean, you know, these things are unordered, so I don't know. I mean, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, then what we can do, what we can do, if it's all right, we can approve that tonight.
Okay.
Leave this open so that if you want to come back with any further information, we'll be happy to listen to it, but you've already got the approval of this modified configuration.
Okay.
Fair enough?
And I'll speak to the window installer tomorrow and clarify with
Explain
that
further.
what was said, so that everybody is on the same page with what the board has said. So we get the best information possible.
All right, so with that modification to the application for us, and Phil Andre, you've got that, right? Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion? Have a motion from John, second from Moyer. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you. One quick thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I also would like to paint the exterior of my house, and right now it's just all white, and the only architecturally interesting feature is the turn around door, which you can't even see, I don't think, from the photograph. And I was wondering how you would all feel if I were to paint the house sort of a medium gray with white trim and white shutters. That it would make some of those features stand out a little bit more.
The medium gray, white trim, of course, accentuating the door. Would the door stay red?
I don't know if that's immaterial. I mean, you know,
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
And going with white shutters as opposed to black on
Yes.
the medium gray?
Yes.
Thoughts, comments?
And show up the windows more against the body house color.
Usually,
Yes, please.
people bring samples.
Yep.
Because medium gray, you know, and
That's something I can do. I mean, I'm just trying to get
just
an
trying to get
idea
a
of.
Feel for it. I think that you're on the right path. That with the samples, as Amanda's asking for, I think we would look at that favorably. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So we can bring that, next month maybe, if she gets color samples, we can maybe bring it back.
That would be great.
We'll deal with that on her timeline then.
Excellent.
But we can do that on the same application, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And now finally, BAR 2041.
I'm going to go through the staff report, and then I'll let Billy take over as he's working on this project. But we saw this a little bit last month, just sort of a preview. There have been some changes since the staff report went out, so I'll show those pictures. But the applicant is seeking approval for a number of changes to the building at 516 North Main Street in the downtown historic district. The building will be the new home of Magnetic South Brewery. The front facade, seeking to make several changes. The parapet wall design will be changed, sort of in conjunction with the sign logo. Sign will be added to the front of the building wall. New storefront windows will be installed along with a new canopy to provide cover for an outdoor dining area. The previous one in your packet had this being a supported canopy, whereas now it's going to be supported from above instead of having blades down below. The drawing you had also showed windows above the canopy, which are no longer in this version. So on the right facade, include replacing the top windows with new windows. 3 garage doors will be added. 2 service windows will be added, and awnings will be installed over all 5 openings. An existing pedestrian door will also be enclosed. There was previously a sign on this wall that has been removed from this version as well. It does not appear there are any changes to the left and rear facades. I don't have any drawings on that. Billy can talk about that, if there's any changes there. And then, of course, when reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 5, which are design guidelines for individual building elements. Chapter 8, design guidelines for signs, and Chapter 9, design guidelines for awnings and canopies. Following sections apply. First policy states to maintain an historic storefront and all of its character-defining features. Historic windows and doors significantly affect the character of the structure and should be preserved. You should design these signs to be in balance with the overall character of the property. Appropriate signs include the flush boundary wall sign that is being considered. Signs should be in character with the material, color, and detail of the building. And the final policy is that an awning or canopy should be similar to those seen historically. The board must decide if the proposed building changes meet the above criteria. A sign permit must be obtained prior to installation of the sign. Happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and then Billy is here representing the applicant.
Billy, anything you want to add?
No, I think Jeff pretty much nailed it. The biggest change, of course, is the front facade. When I showed this before, like Jeff said, we had some windows that came up a little bit higher, but this new version keeps the windows at their current height, keeps the storefront at the current height. It just breaks it up vertically with some brick piers, some new brick piers. And we changed what was a covered porch with columns at the front with this cantilevered canopy that ties back to the front facade, which will open it up a little bit more out front. The materials, again, are brick up to a certain height, painted brick, and then above that is this V-groove. Basically, it's a hardy product. It's a concrete board product with a V-groove. It simulates siding, which was there before, but it's more durable, a little cleaner look. This V-groove siding, which will also be painted. And on the side, on the right-hand side, we're making some new openings with garage doors. Those are glass garage overhead doors, which would open up into the seating area. And then those small square windows up high are existing openings. We would just insert new storefront windows in those openings. And that whole facade is currently brick. It'll just get a new coat of paint. And on the side opposite that, there's nothing new going on other than just a fresh coat of paint and new windows similar to those high square windows right there. Yeah, there you go. So those openings will be filled with new windows, and then that facade will get painted to match the rest of the building.
And the metal canopies are what color? Is it bronze or?
It's a dark bronze, pretty much. It'll be black.
Okay. Because I mean, on the front it looks black, and the side it looks a little more bronze. Very nice. I think it's a good opportunity to take note and maybe even have a little discussion on what's being presented to us here. You know, this is a building. It has, I mean, it's been here forever. So in one sense, it is, I wouldn't say historic, but it's been long-standing and well-known. But over the years, whatever it had is gone. But it didn't have any historic features. It doesn't have the cornices. It doesn't have the storefronts and the columns and balustrades that we see elsewhere. Actually, very contemporary looking in a sense. However, what's noting to me is that the materials are consistent with our guidelines. We're not talking about putting up vinyl. It is party board in a more contemporary, updated design. Garage doors we have approved in the past, so that's coming forward. Canopies, granted, these are updated and they're metal, but still consistent with the notions of canvas canopies that were seen in times in the past. To convert one of our more historic buildings with all the original details I think I would be opposed to it, and I think we all would be. But here, a fresher look, a contemporary look, I think is reasonable, appropriate. It is downtown and not inconsistent with the spirit of the guidelines. Thoughts and comments?
I think it's great, the original windows all along the side, that you've made use of those, and really putting it more back, because they're painted over right now.
Right.
The way it originally was, and keeping the top, the concept of the top
Yes.
facade.
The parapet,
but
yeah.
Wasn't it A&P?
Yes, it was an A&P.
Yeah.
But yet making it,
Something new.
Updated.
Yeah,
I think it's wonderful.
looks really good.
Vast improvement downtown. Canopy, will there be lights on the bottom of the canopy or just on the?
Yes. There will be lights.
Wouldn't it be great?
That's the plan for now.
For this
I'm showing lights
Which
mounted to the underside of the canopy
So
and wall sconces as well. We're doing.
This is gonna be somewhat.
You know, I think the material before us is pretty complete answer to the questions. Anything further? Is there a motion? A motion from Amanda, second from Jill. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you very much. That concludes
trying to
the
remember, what is that?
public hearing portion. Slaughter has provided us with the minutes from the December meeting. You've had the opportunity to review them.
No, it's that, the dumpling.
Any comments or corrections?
Yeah, right.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? A motion from Bill, second from Mary Lou. All in favor? Anything further tonight? Special night, God bless America. Motion to adjourn. Thank you, Andy. And Bill, we are adjourned.